Welcome to BL Hub. If you're a lover of boys' love stories or you do kick your legs while watching two men kissing, then you are at the right place. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and share before we dive into this story. Thank you.
Poor me. I was balancing 2 trays of steaming pasta bowls on one arm while cradling my twins against my chest with the other, praying neither of them would start crying in the middle of the dinner rush. At 24, I'd become an expert at juggling, literally. Leo and Luna were 18 months old, both teething, both clingy after a long day at the daycare down the street. I'd picked them up on my break, because the sitter had an emergency, and now here I was, sneaking them into the back of La Bella Vita, the upscale Italian restaurant where I waited tables to pay rent on our tiny one-bedroom apartment. I was wiping sauce off Leo's cheek with the corner of my apron when the front door chimed. I didn't look up right away, too busy whispering threats of ice cream if they stayed quiet. But then the entire room seemed to hush, the way it does when someone important walks in. Conversations dipped. Heads turned. And my heart stopped. Alexander Voss. My billionaire ex. The man who once owned half the skyline of this city and, for one reckless year, owned every piece of me. He stepped inside wearing a charcoal suit that probably cost more than my yearly salary, his dark hair swept back, that same sharp jawline that used to make my knees weak. He looked exactly the same. Untouched by time. Untouched by the chaos he'd left behind. And he wasn't alone. On his arm was a man I recognized instantly from tabloids. Ruben Claremont, heir to a luxury hotel empire, tall and blonde and smiling like he belonged there. They were laughing about something, heads close, Ruben's hand resting possessively on Alex's lower back. I froze in the middle of the dining floor, trays forgotten, twins squirming. Luna let out a small whine. Leo grabbed a fistful of my shirt. Alex's gaze swept the room the way powerful men do, taking inventory, until it landed on me. His smile vanished. The color drained from his face like someone had pulled a plug. Those storm gray eyes widened, locked on mine, then dropped to the children in my arms. Leo with his messy black curls. Luna with her gray eyes that matched her father's exactly. Elijah! His voice cut through the restaurant noise like a blade. Deep, shocked, unmistakable. Every head turned toward me now. My manager, Carla, poked her head out from the kitchen pass-through, eyebrows raised. I wanted to run. I wanted to disappear. 3 years of hiding, of building a life without him, of telling myself I didn't need his money or his name or his explanations, and in 1 second, it all crumbled. Alex took a step forward, Ruben frowning beside him. Elijah, he repeated, softer this time, almost pleading. The trays wobbled in my hand. Leo started crying, loud, piercing wails that echoed off the marble floors. Luna joined in solidarity. I bounced them instinctively, shushing, my face burning. I have tables, I stammered, backing away. My voice cracked. Alex moved faster, crossing the room in long strides. People parted for him like they always did. He stopped right in front of me, close enough that I could smell his cologne. Cedar and something expensive that haunted my dreams for months after I left. Who? He couldn't finish. His eyes kept flicking from my face to the twins and back again. Calculating. Realizing. I saw the exact moment it hit him. His hand lifted, almost reaching for Luna's cheek, then dropped. There? I swallowed hard. My throat felt lined with sand. Mine, I said firmly. They're mine. But, half-lie. But I'd practiced it in the mirror 1,000 times. His jaw tightened. Elijah, we need to talk. No, I whispered. We really don't. I turned, trays clattering dangerously, and fled toward the kitchen doors. Carla caught me as I burst through, taking the trays before I dropped everything. What the hell was that? She hissed, glancing back at the dining room. Was that Alexander Voss? The Alexander Voss. I couldn't answer. I was too busy trying not to cry in front of my kids. I set Leo and Luna down in the makeshift playpen we kept in the break room for emergencies like this, my hands shaking. 3 years ago, I'd walked away from Alex without a word. I'd found out I was pregnant 2 weeks after our breakup, after he'd accused me of leaking private photos to the press, after he'd said things he couldn't take back, After I'd realized loving a man like him meant always standing in his shadow, always wondering if I was just a phase. So I left. Changed my number. Moved 3 states away. Took back my old last name. Started over. And now he was here. In my restaurant. Seeing everything I'd hidden. My phone buzzed in my apron pocket. A new number I didn't recognize. The message preview popped up. Unknown, we're not done talking. I'm outside. Please, asterisk asterisk. I stared at it until the screen went dark. Carla poked her head in. He's at table 12. Ordered water. Hasn't touched the menu. Keeps staring at the kitchen door like he's waiting for you to come out. I laughed, but it came out broken. He can wait forever. But even as I said it, I knew Alex. He didn't wait. He conquered. And now he knew about the twins. The rest of the shift passed in a blur. I avoided the main floor as much as possible, trading sections with coworkers who were thrilled to wait on a billionaire. Every time I peeked out, Alex was still there. Ruben had left an hour ago, alone, looking annoyed. Alex sat by himself, scrolling on his phone, occasionally glancing up. When closing time came, Carla locked the front doors and flipped the sign. I gathered the twins, their little heads drooping with exhaustion, and slipped out the back entrance into the alley. He was waiting there too, leaning against a sleek black Maybach, arms crossed, suit jacket open. The alley light cast shadows across his face, making him look older than I remembered. Tired. Elijah, he said quietly as I stopped dead in my tracks. Leave me alone, Alex. You have my eyes, he said, nodding toward Luna, who was half asleep on my shoulder. Both of them do. I shifted Leo higher in my arms. Lots of people have gray eyes. Not like mine. His voice was steady, but I heard the tremor underneath. Not like hers. Silence stretched between us, thick and painful. How old are they? He asked finally. None of your business. 18 months. I flinched. He exhaled slowly. You left. You disappeared. And you were... Don't. I stepped back. Don't you dare make this about you being hurt. You ended us, Alex. You said I betrayed you. You said you never wanted to see me again. I was wrong, he said simply. I was angry and stupid and wrong. I looked for you. For months. I didn't want to be found. He looked at the twins again, something raw breaking across his face. They're mine, aren't they? I couldn't lie again. Not when he was staring at me like that. I didn't answer. I just turned and walked away, heart pounding, praying he wouldn't follow. But I heard his footsteps behind me anyway. Elijah, wait. Please. Let me. No, I spun around, tears finally spilling over. You don't get to waltz back in and play concerned dad. We're fine. We've been fine without you. You're waiting tables with 2 babies, he said, voice cracking. You're struggling. I can see it. I'm not your charity case. You're the father of my children, he shot back. Whether you like it or not. The words hung in the air like smoke. I stared at him, chest heaving. The twins were quiet now, sensing the tension. Finally, I whispered, Stay away from us, Alex. I walked faster, turning the corner toward the bus stop. He didn't follow this time. But when I got home, when I'd tucked Leo and Luna into their shared crib, when I'd collapsed onto my worn-out couch, my phone buzzed again. Unknown. I'm not going anywhere this time. We need to talk. Properly. For them. I didn't reply. But deep down, I knew this was only the beginning. I didn't sleep that night. Leo woke up twice with nightmares, Luna once with a fever that broke my heart because I couldn't afford the good pediatrician anymore. By 5 a.m., I was sitting on the kitchen floor of our cramped apartment, sipping cold coffee, staring at Alex's last message still glowing on my phone screen. Alex, I'm not going anywhere this time. We need to talk. Properly. For them, asterisk asterisk. I hated how those 2 words, for them, twisted something inside me. Because he was right. The twins deserved more than hand-me-down clothes and a dad who sometimes worked double shifts just to cover formula. But accepting help from Alexander Voss meant opening a door I'd nailed shut 3 years ago. I blocked his number before I left for the daycare drop-off. Felt proud for exactly 30 minutes. Then I saw the car. A matte black Range Rover was parked directly outside the daycare gates, engine idling. Alex leaned against the driver's door in a navy coat, no tie, hair tousled like he hadn't slept either. He looked less like a billionaire and more like the man who used to steal my hoodies on winter mornings. I gripped the stroller handles tighter. "You can't be here." "I'm not inside," he said calmly. "I'm on public property. I just want 5 minutes." "You had your 5 minutes last night." That was shock talking. This is me thinking clearly. He glanced at the twins, buckled in side by side, babbling to each other. Leo waved a chubby hand at him. "Traitor." I sighed. "I have to get to work." "I know. I checked your schedule with Carla." My head snapped up. "You did what?" "She likes me," he said with a faint shrug. "I tipped her $500 last night and asked nicely." Of course he did. I pushed the stroller past him, but he fell into step beside me. "Elijah, stop. Please. Hear me out." I kept walking. The bus stop was 2 blocks away. "I'm not asking you to come back to me," he said quickly. "I know I lost that right. But those kids, they're half mine. I want to take responsibility." I laughed bitterly. "With money? That's always your answer." "Not just money." He matched my pace easily. "I want time with them. Supervised, if that's what you need. I want to know their birthdays, their favorite foods, what makes them laugh. I missed 18 months. I don't want to miss any more." My throat tightened. I stopped walking. He stopped too, hands in his pockets, eyes pleading in a way I'd never seen from him before. "I'm not trying to take them from you," he added softly. "I swear on everything I have. I just want to help. And if you let me, I can make things easier for all 3 of you." I looked down at Leo and Luna. Luna was chewing on her stuffed bunny's ear. Leo was staring at Alex with open curiosity, the same way he stared at bright lights. "What exactly are you offering?" I asked, voice barely above a whisper. "Everything you need," he said without hesitation. "Better apartment. Full-time nanny you approve of. Medical coverage. College funds. Whatever you want." "And in return?" He hesitated for the first time. "Paternity test. Just to make it legal." "I'd like weekends." "Gradually. When you're comfortable." My stomach dropped. Weekends. Him alone with them. The idea terrified me and, shamefully, relieved me at the same time. "I need to think," I said. "I know. Take all the time you want. But in the meantime," he reached into his coat and pulled out a sleek black card. "Not the credit card, an access card. This is for a pediatric clinic downtown. Best in the city. Luna looked warm this morning. Take her today. No strings. Bill it to me." I stared at the card like it might burn me. "I'm not buying you, Elijah," he said quietly. "I'm trying to fix what I broke." I took the card. My fingers brushed his, and the old spark jumped between us like it had never left. I hated my body for remembering. "Thank you," I muttered. He smiled, small, hopeful, heartbreaking. "Text me when you're ready to talk. New numbers on the back." I watched him walk back to his car, get in, and drive away without looking back. Luna's fever climbed by noon. I called in sick to the restaurant, lost a full shift's pay, and took her to the clinic. The receptionist scanned the black card, eyes widening, and suddenly we were in a private room with a doctor who actually listened instead of rushing. Luna got medicine. I got a prescription plan that cost me nothing. And a follow-up appointment already scheduled. When we got home, there was a delivery waiting at my door. A massive box from a high-end baby boutique. Inside, 2 car seats, the safest model on the market, a double stroller that probably cost more than my rent, organic cotton clothes in exactly the right sizes, and a note in Alex's handwriting. *4 safer journeys. Pick whatever you like. Return the rest. No pressure. The asterisk. I sat on the floor surrounded by luxury I couldn't afford and cried for the first time in months. Not because I was sad. Because I was tired. So damn tired of doing it all alone. That night, after the twins were asleep, I unblocked his number. "Me? Luna's better. Thank you for the clinic, **. 3 dots appeared instantly. "Alex, I'm glad. Anything else you need?" Asterisk asterisk. I stared at the screen for 10 minutes. We should talk. In person. Neutral place. Asterisk asterisk. Alex. Name the time and place. I'll be there. Asterisk asterisk. Me. Tomorrow. 10 a.m. Riverside Park Playground. The twins will be with me. Asterisk asterisk. Alex. I'll bring coffee. And those little blueberry muffins you used to love. Asterisk asterisk. I didn't reply. My heart was racing too hard. The next morning, I dressed the twins in the new outfits, soft gray onesies that made their eyes pop. I told myself it was practical, not sentimental. Alex was already at the playground when we arrived, sitting on a bench with a carrier of coffees and a bakery bag. He stood the second he saw us, expression careful. "Hi," he said, like we were strangers meeting for the first time. "Hi." He handed me a coffee, oat milk, 2 sugars, exactly right, and crouched down to the stroller. "Hey, little ones," he murmured. Leo reached out immediately. Alex let him grab his finger, eyes shining. We sat on the bench. The twins played in the grass nearby, safely within reach. "I've thought about this moment 1,000 times, Alex said quietly. "What I'd say if I ever found you. I had speeches prepared. Apologies. Explanations." He looked at me. "But none of them feel right now. So I'll just say I'm sorry. For everything I said that night. For not trusting you. For letting you walk away." I sipped my coffee to hide the lump in my throat. "I was scared," he continued, "of how much I loved you. Of what it meant for my life, my family, the company. I handled it like an idiot." I nodded slowly. I was scared too. Then I found out I was pregnant and I panicked. I thought you'd think I did it on purpose. Or that you'd try to control everything. "I would have," he admitted. "Back then, I was arrogant enough to think money fixed feelings." Silence settled between us, not uncomfortable for once. Leo toddled over and plopped into Alex's lap like he belonged there. Alex froze, then carefully wrapped an arm around him. Luna followed, demanding equal attention. Within minutes, both twins were climbing him like a jungle gym. I watched, chest aching. "They like you," I said. "They know," he whispered, voice thick. Somehow. We let the kids play for an hour. Alex pushed them on the baby swings, caught them at the bottom of the slide, made silly faces that had them shrieking with laughter. When they started rubbing their eyes, I knew it was time. "I'll do the paternity test," I said as I buckled them into the new stroller. "And we can try supervised visits. Once a week. Here in public." His whole face lit up. "Thank you. But if you ever hurt them, if you ever make them feel like second place to your empire, I'm gone again. And this time you won't find us." "I won't," he promised. "I swear." He walked us to the bus stop. Before I got on, he hesitated. "Can I hug you?" he asked. "Just once. As a thank you." I should have said no. Instead, I stepped into his arms. He held me like I was fragile and priceless, face buried in my hair, breathing me in. I felt his heart hammering against mine. "I missed you," he whispered. "Every single day." I pulled back before I did something stupid like cry again. "See you next week," I said. He nodded, eyes wet. "Next week." As the bus pulled away, I watched him in the side mirror, standing there with his hands in his pockets, staring after us until we turned the corner. My phone buzzed. "Alex, thank you for today. Best morning I've had in 3 years." I smiled despite myself. This was dangerous. So dangerous. But for the first time in forever, I didn't feel like I was drowning. The paternity test was scheduled for a Wednesday morning at a private lab Alex booked entirely for us. No waiting room, no forms, just a kind technician who swabbed the inside of all 4 cheeks and promised results within 48 hours. Leo thought it was a game and kept trying to lick the swab. Luna screamed the whole time. I held her tight, rocking her, while Alex watched with that helpless look rich men get when money can't fix something. Afterward, he suggested breakfast at a quiet cafe nearby. I almost said no, sticking to public places, keeping boundaries, but the twins were starving and I hadn't packed enough snacks. So I agreed. 1 pancake breakfast. That was all. The cafe was small, warm, filled with the smell of butter and maple. We took a corner booth. Alex ordered for everyone without looking at the menu. Blueberry pancakes for me, scrambled eggs and fruit for the kids, black coffee for himself. He remembered I hated syrup on the side, liked it poured over everything. Halfway through the meal, Leo threw a piece of banana at Alex's tie. It stuck. Alex just laughed, peeled it off, and let Leo smear more on his sleeve like it was the greatest honor. I watched them and felt something dangerous loosen in my chest. "You're good with them," I said quietly. "I'm trying," he replied, cutting Luna's pancake into tiny pieces. "I read 3 parenting books on the flight back from Tokyo last week. Highlighted the chapters on toddlers." I snorted. "You highlighted parenting books?" "Color-coded." He grinned, sheepish. "Blue for discipline, pink for emotional development, yellow for feeding." Of course he did. The results came the next day. "Alex, 99.99% match. They're mine. Asterisk asterisk." He didn't add anything else. No exclamation points. No demands. Just the fact laid bare. I stared at the message for an hour, then replied. "Me, I know. Alex, can I see them this weekend? Just a few hours. Your choice of place, asterisk asterisk." "Me, my apartment. Saturday. Asterisk asterisk." I told myself it was practical. Neutral public spaces were getting hard with 2 active toddlers. My place had toys, snacks, napmats. Safer. He arrived exactly on time with a bag of wooden blocks, a picture book about trains, and a cautious smile. The morning flew. He sat on my worn rug building towers while the twins knocked them down, shrieking with delight. I made coffee. He drank it black, no complaints about the cheap brand. When Luna got cranky, he walked her around the tiny living room, humming softly until she fell asleep on his shoulder. I took a photo without thinking. Him in his expensive sweater, hair messy, her little fist curled in his collar. I didn't send it to anyone. Just saved it. Leo napped next. Suddenly the apartment was quiet except for the hum of the fridge. Alex laid Luna gently in the crib beside her brother, then turned to me. "I should go," he said, but didn't move. "Yeah," I agreed, but didn't walk him to the door. We stood in the middle of my living room, 3 feet apart, air thick. "Thank you," he said, "for letting me in today. They like having you here." "And you?" he asked, voice low. I looked away. "Don't push it." He stepped closer. Not touching. Just close enough that I could feel the warmth coming off him. "I'm not pushing," he murmured. "I'm standing still, hoping you'll come the rest of the way." My heart slammed against my ribs. "Alex, I dream about you," he said suddenly. "Every night. The way you used to laugh when I kissed your neck. The way you said my name when—" "Stop." My voice cracked. He stopped. But his eyes didn't leave mine. I should have stepped back. Should have reminded him of rules, of boundaries, of all the reasons this was a terrible idea. Instead, I stepped forward. Just one step. His breath caught. I reached up, fingers brushing the stubble along his jaw. He closed his eyes like my touch burned. "Elijah," he whispered, a plea and a prayer. I rose on my toes and kissed him. Soft at first. Testing. A question. He answered immediately, arms wrapping around me, pulling me close, but gentle, so gentle, like he was afraid I'd vanish. His lips moved against mine slow and deep, tasting like coffee and longing. I felt the tremor in his hands, the way he held back, letting me lead. I deepened it. Couldn't help it. 3 years of missing him poured out in the slide of my tongue against his, in the small sound I made when he angled his head and kissed me like he was drowning. His fingers threaded through my hair, cradling the back of my head. Mine clutched his sweater, pulling him closer until there was no space left between us. It wasn't rushed or frantic. It was slow, deliberate, devastating. Every kiss said "I'm sorry" and "I missed you and please don't leave again." When we finally broke apart, foreheads resting together, both breathing hard, he whispered, "Tell me that meant something." "It meant everything," I admitted, voice raw. "And it scares the hell out of me." He kissed my forehead, then my temple, then the corner of my mouth, small, reverent presses like he was sealing a promise. "I'm not the same man I was," he said against my skin. "I'll spend every day proving it if you let me." I wanted to believe him. God, I wanted to. But the twins stirred in their crib and reality crashed back in. I stepped away, hands shaking. "You should go." He nodded, understanding. Didn't argue. At the door he paused. "Can I come back tomorrow?" I swallowed. Yes. His smile was small, hopeful, beautiful. After he left, I leaned against the closed door and slid to the floor. I'd just kissed Alexander Voss again. And I'd liked it far too much. That night he texted, "Alex, I can still taste you. I'm never washing this sweater, asterisk asterisk." I laughed out loud in my dark bedroom. "Me? You're ridiculous." "Alex, ridiculously in love with you. Still, always, asterisk asterisk." I didn't reply. Couldn't find words big enough. Instead, I opened the photo from earlier, him holding Luna, looking at her like she was the entire world. And for the first time in 3 years, I let myself hope. The next few weeks blurred into a new rhythm. Alex came over almost every day after work. Never stayed late. Never pushed for more than I offered. He brought dinner sometimes, takeout from places I'd never been able to afford. He changed diapers without flinching. Read bedtime stories in funny voices. Let Leo fall asleep on his chest while we watched quiet TV on the couch, my feet tucked under his thigh. We kissed again. A lot. In the kitchen while pasta boiled. On the couch after the twins were down. Against the front door the second he arrived, like we couldn't wait another second. Always slow. Always deep. Always leaving me dizzy and wanting more, but we stopped there. I wasn't ready for anything else, and he never asked. One evening, after a particularly long kiss that left us both breathless, he pulled back and rested his forehead against mine. "I want to take you all somewhere," he said. "Next weekend. Just one night. A house I have upstate. Big yard, quiet. The kids can run around. We can breathe." I hesitated. "It's not a trick," he added softly. "Separate rooms if you want. I just want time with my family." Family. The word hit me square in the chest. I looked over at the twins playing on the rug, Leo stacking blocks, Luna knocking them down, and then back at Alex. "Okay," I said. One night. His smile could have powered the city. Later, after he'd gone and the apartment was quiet again, I stood in the shower letting hot water run over me, trying to calm the storm inside. I was falling again. And this time, I wasn't sure I wanted to stop. The drive upstate took 3 hours, but it felt like stepping into another lifetime. Alex drove the Range Rover himself, no driver, no security trailing us. Just the 4 of us, windows cracked, kids' music playing low, Luna kicking her feet to the beat from her new car seat. I sat in the passenger seat stealing glances at him, sleeves rolled up, one hand on the wheel, the other resting on the gear shift close enough that our fingers brushed every time he shifted. He'd warned me the house was big. He hadn't warned me it was breathtaking. Tucked into the hills, all glass and warm wood, overlooking a private lake that reflected the autumn leaves like fire. When we pulled up, the twins pressed their faces to the windows and babbled excitedly at the sight of ducks on the water. Inside smelled like pine and fresh bread. Someone had stocked the kitchen and lit the fireplace before we arrived. There were already 2 cribs set up in a nursery painted soft blue, stuffed animals on the shelves, a rocking chair by the window. "You had this ready?" I asked, throat tight. "I hoped," he said simply. "For months. Before I even found you again." I didn't know what to say to that. We spent the afternoon outside. Alex pushed the twins on a tree swing he'd apparently had installed last spring. Leo squealed every time he went higher. Luna clung to Alex's neck and demanded, more, in her tiny voice. I sat on the porch steps with a mug of cider, watching them, feeling something settle in my chest that I hadn't felt in years. Peace. Dinner was simple, homemade pizza on the outdoor oven, dough tossed by Alex while the kids helped, with flour handprints all over his shirt. We ate on the deck as the sun set, the sky turning pink and gold over the lake. After the twins were bathed and tucked in, both out cold within minutes from all the fresh air, Alex poured us wine and led me to the living room. The fire crackled. Blankets were piled on the huge sectional. He didn't sit across from me. He sat close, thigh against mine, like it was the most natural thing in the world. We talked for hours. Really talked. About the night we broke up, how he'd panicked when those photos leaked, how his board had pressured him to clean up his image, how he'd lashed out at me because I was the only person who could hurt him that much. About the months after I left, how he'd hired investigators, how he'd flown to every city I'd ever mentioned wanting to visit, how empty his penthouse had felt without my books scattered everywhere. About me, how terrified I'd been finding out I was pregnant, how I'd cried in a clinic bathroom holding 2 positive tests, how I'd named the twins after constellations because Alex and I used to stargaze on his rooftop and he'd promised to show our kids the sky someday. By the time the fire burned low, my head was on his shoulder, his arm around me, fingers tracing slow circles on my arm. "I never stopped loving you," he said into my hair. "Not for a second." I tilted my face up to his. "I tried to stop loving you. I really did." He kissed me then, slow, deep, deliberate. The kind of kiss that starts soft and builds until you're clinging to each other like the world might end if you let go. His hands slid under my sweater, palms warm against my back, pulling me closer until I was straddling his lap on the couch. We stayed like that for a long time, kissing, breathing each other in, hearts racing. His lips moved to my neck, my jaw, the spot behind my ear that always made me shiver. I felt the heat building, the ache I'd ignored for years, but when his hands started to drift lower, I caught them gently and pressed them to my chest instead. "Not yet," I whispered against his mouth. He stilled immediately, pulling back just enough to look at me. Eyes dark, lips swollen, breathing ragged. "Okay," he said, voice rough but steady. "Whatever you need. Whenever you're ready." He kissed my forehead, then my nose, then my lips again, soft now, tender. We rearranged ourselves under a blanket, my back to his chest, his arms wrapped around me, and watched the fire die down until we both dozed off. I woke in the middle of the night to Luna crying over the monitor. Alex was already moving, murmuring, "I got her," as he slipped out from behind me. I followed anyway. We stood in the nursery doorway together watching him lift her gently, rock her, hum the same lullaby he'd used before. She settled almost instantly, tiny hand fisted in his shirt. He looked up and saw me watching. Smiled that soft, sleepy smile that undid me every time. "Go back to sleep," he whispered. "I've got our girl." Our girl. I went back to the couch, but I couldn't sleep. Too much swirling in my head. When he returned 20 minutes later, he slid in behind me again, pulling me close. "You okay?" he murmured. "I'm scared," I admitted into the dark. "Of what?" "That this is too good. That I'll wake up and it'll be gone again." He tightened his hold. "I'm not going anywhere. Not ever again. I swear on Leo and Luna. On us." I turned in his arms to face him. Even in the dim light from the dying embers, I could see the truth in his eyes. "I believe you," I whispered. He kissed me once more, gentle, sealing, and we fell asleep tangled together. The next morning, the twins woke us at dawn, crawling onto the couch demanding breakfast. We made pancakes shaped like stars. Alex let Leo pour way too much syrup. Luna smeared batter on my cheek and Alex kissed it off, laughing when I swatted him. After breakfast, we walked down to the lake. Alex carried Luna on his shoulders. I held Leo's hand as he toddled along, pointing at every leaf and rock. At the dock, Alex set Luna down and pulled something from his pocket, a small velvet box. My heart stopped. He saw my face and laughed softly. "Not that. Not yet. I'm not that reckless." He opened it. Inside were 2 tiny silver pendants, necklaces for the twins. One with a tiny engraved lion for Leo. One with a moon and stars for Luna. "And this," he said, pulling out a third box, "is for you." A delicate chain with a constellation pendant, Orit. The one he'd named me after the first night we met, when I'd told him my favorite myth. I stared at it, tears blurring my vision. "I want us to be a family," he said quietly. "Officially. In every way that matters. But only when you're ready. No pressure. No rush." I let him fasten it around my neck. The metal was cool against my skin. Leo tugged at his pant leg. Alex scooped him up, then Luna, holding both kids while I leaned into his side. We stood there like that for a long time. 4 of us against the morning light, the lake quiet around us. When we packed up to leave that afternoon, I didn't want to go. In the car on the way home, the twins asleep in the back, Alex reached over and laced his fingers with mine. "Move in with me," he said suddenly. I turned to him, startled. "Not the penthouse," he added quickly. "A new place. Somewhere with a yard, close to the park, room for the kids to grow. We'll pick it together. Or stay in your apartment if that's what you want. I'll come to you every night. I don't want to keep saying goodbye at your door." I squeezed his hand. "Let me think about it." He nodded, bringing my hand to his lips and kissing my knuckles. "Take all the time you need." But as the city skyline came into view, I already knew my answer. I wasn't running anymore. We didn't move right away. I asked for time, and Alex gave it without complaint. Instead, we fell into the sweetest routine I'd ever known. He'd come to my apartment after work, help with bath time, read stories, kiss me goodnight at the door like we were teenagers. Some nights he stayed on the couch after I pretended to fall asleep mid-movie, his arms around me until morning. We never crossed the final line, but every kiss felt like a promise that we would, when it felt right. 2 months after the upstate weekend, I finally said yes to looking at houses. We spent Sundays driving around quiet neighborhoods with wide sidewalks and good schools. Alex never pushed the biggest or flashiest. He listened when I said I wanted somewhere that felt like home, not a showcase. We found it on the 3rd Sunday. A 4-bedroom Craftsman with a wraparound porch, huge oak tree in the front yard, and a backyard big enough for swings and future chaos. I cried when I saw the nursery window overlooking the garden. He held me while the realtor pretended not to notice. We put in an offer that afternoon. It was accepted by evening. That should have been the moment everything locked into place. But life doesn't work like fairy tales. It started with a phone call on a Tuesday night. I was folding tiny laundry while Alex cooked spaghetti in my kitchen, sauce bubbling, twins banging plastic spoons on their high chairs. My phone rang, unknown number. I almost ignored it, but something made me answer. Elijah Hart? A woman's voice, crisp, professional. "Yes. This is Margaret Lang from Voss Enterprises Legal Department. Mr. Alexander Voss's family has requested a meeting with you tomorrow morning at 9. It's regarding the children." My stomach dropped. "I'm sorry, what?" She repeated it like she was reading from a script. "The Voss family trust attorneys would like to discuss paternity acknowledgement, custody arrangements, and financial provisions. Attendance is strongly advised." I looked across the room at Alex. He was laughing as Luna smeared sauce on his cheek. He hadn't heard yet. "I'll have to check my schedule," I managed. 9 a.m. at the downtown offices. Mr. Voss Sr. will be present." She hung up. Alex turned, smile fading when he saw my face. "Who was that?" I couldn't speak. He took the phone from my hand, saw the call log, and went very still. "They went around me," he said quietly. "Your family wants to meet me. About custody." He closed his eyes, jaw tight. "I'm sorry. I should have warned you they might try something." "You knew." "I knew they were angry I'd kept the twins quiet. My father thinks everything is a PR risk until it's locked down legally." He set the phone down and pulled me into his arms. "You don't have to go. I'll handle it." But I could hear the tension in his voice. This wasn't just about me. This was his family empire, his inheritance, decades of expectations. "I'll go," I said. "But you're coming with me." He nodded, holding me tighter. The next morning, I dressed like armor, dark jeans, crisp white shirt, hair tied back. Alex drove us downtown in silence, his hand gripping mine the whole way. The twins were with the nanny he'd quietly hired 2 weeks ago, a kind older woman named Rosa whom I already trusted completely. Voss Enterprises occupied the top 5 floors of the tallest building in the city. The elevator opened directly into a boardroom of glass and steel. Waiting inside were 4 people: Alexander Sr., tall, silver-haired, face like granite; his wife Caroline, elegant and cold; a woman in a severe suit who introduced herself as the family attorney, and a man with a notepad who never spoke. No one stood when we entered. Alexander Sr. gestured to 2 chairs opposite them. Sit. Alex's grip on my hand tightened. This isn't an interrogation, Father. It's a necessary conversation, the older man replied. One you've avoided for months. We sat. Caroline spoke first, voice clipped. We've been patient, Alexander. But bringing 2 illegitimate children into the family line without proper agreements is reckless. I felt Alex tense beside me. They're not illegitimate. They're mine. Elijah is their father. That's not changing. Legally it can, the attorney said smoothly, sliding a thick folder across the table. We're prepared to file for primary custody on your behalf, Alexander, given Mr. Hart's circumstances. She glanced at me like I was something stuck to her shoe. Limited income, unstable employment history, substandard housing. Enough, Alex cut in, voice like ice. You will not insult Elijah in front of me. His father leaned forward. Then let's be reasonable. We're offering a generous settlement. Mr. Hart receives $10 million, a condominium of his choice, and supervised visitation rights. In exchange, he relinquishes all parental claims. The children are raised here, in the family, with proper education and protection from media scrutiny. I laughed. I couldn't help it. A sharp, broken sound. You think I'd sell my kids? Caroline's lips thinned. You left once before. Clearly you understood the unsuitability of this relationship. Alex stood so fast his chair scraped back. We're done here. His father didn't blink. If you fight us on this, Alexander, the board will side with me. Your position as CEO becomes tenuous. Think carefully. Alex looked down at me. I saw the war in his eyes. Love versus legacy, me versus everything he'd been raised to protect. I stood too, chin high. I'm not signing anything. And if you try to take my children, I will burn every dollar you have in court costs and publicity you can't control. The world loves a good underdog story. Caroline's eyes narrowed. You wouldn't dare. Try me. We walked out hand in hand. In the elevator, Alex's breathing was ragged. I'm so sorry, he whispered. I didn't think they'd go this far. I leaned against the wall. What happens now? Now I choose, he said. And I choose you. All 3 of you. But that night, after we'd put the twins to bed and sat on my couch in heavy silence, he told me the rest. If I fight them openly, they'll freeze my assets. Delay the house closing. Drag this through courts for years. They have the best lawyers money can buy. I swallowed. And if you don't fight? He looked at me, eyes devastated. I keep the company. We live comfortably. But they'll never accept you or the kids fully. There'll always be conditions. I felt the ground tilt under me. So those are the options? Lose everything or live under their thumb? He pulled me into his lap, burying his face in my neck. I don't know yet, but I'm not losing you again. I'd rather have nothing than lose you. We didn't sleep that night. We held each other on the couch, kissing slow and desperate, like we could anchor ourselves with touch alone. When dawn came, his phone started blowing up, board members, his father, publicists. He turned it off. By noon the next day, tabloids had the story. Billionaire Voss secret twins drama. Family feud over mystery lover. Photos of us leaving the building. Grainy shots of me with the twins from weeks ago. My old apartment address blurred but recognizable. My manager at the restaurant called. Paparazzi were outside. I couldn't go to work. Rosa texted that 2 strange cars had parked near the daycare. I started packing bags without thinking. Old instincts kicking in. Run, hide, protect. Alex found me folding tiny sweaters into a duffel. What are you doing? We have to leave, I said, voice shaking. Just for a while. Until it calms down. He took the bag from my hands gently. No more running. Not from this. Not ever again. Then what do we do? He pulled out his own phone, dialed a number from memory. Hi, it's Alex. Yeah, I know you saw the news. I need a favor. Can you get the jet ready? We're going public. He hung up and looked at me. Tomorrow morning, he said. Press conference. I'm telling the truth. All of it. And then we disappear, just the four of us, until the dust settles. I stared at him. You're willing to risk everything? He cupped my face, thumbs brushing my cheeks. I already have everything, he said. Right here in this apartment. The rest is just noise. I kissed him then, hard, grateful, terrified. He kissed me back like he was memorizing me. Whatever came next, we'd face it together. But as I lay in bed that night listening to his steady breathing beside me, one thought circled like a shark. Some families don't let go easily. And the Voss family had never lost a fight. The press conference was held in a small hotel ballroom downtown, not the Voss Enterprises Tower. Alex's choice, neutral ground. He stood at the podium in a simple navy suit, no tie, hair a little messy like he'd run his hands through it too many times. I watched from the wings with Rosa and the twins, Leo on my hip, Luna in the stroller clutching her bunny. Cameras flashed the second he stepped up. Good morning, he started, voice steady. Thank you for coming on short notice. I won't take questions today. I just want to say what needs to be said. He took a breath. 3 years ago, I made the biggest mistake of my life. I let fear and pride push away the man I loved. Elijah Hart walked out of my life carrying more than just a broken heart. He was carrying our children. Twins. Leo and Luna Voss. My son and my daughter. Murmurs rippled through the reporters. Phones lifted higher. I spent years regretting that night. When I found Elijah again by chance, I promised myself I'd do whatever it took to earn a place in their lives. Not as a billionaire. Not as a name on a trust fund. As their father. And if he'll let me, as Elijah's partner again. He turned slightly, looking offstage to where I stood. His eyes found mine across the lights. Yesterday, my family tried to force a choice between love and legacy. They offered money to make Elijah disappear. They threatened my position if I didn't comply. So here's my answer. He reached into his jacket and pulled out a single sheet of paper, his resignation letter as CEO of Voss Enterprises, dated today. I'm stepping down effective immediately. The board can vote however they want. The company will survive. It always has. But my children deserve a father who chooses them first, every time. And Elijah deserves a man who isn't afraid to walk away from everything for him. The room erupted. Questions shouted over each other. Alex didn't flinch. He stepped back from the podium, walked straight to us, and dropped to one knee in front of the stroller. Leo reached for him immediately. Luna babbled, "Duh, clear as day." Alex's eyes filled, but he smiled. "Hey, babies." Then he looked up at me. "I love you," he said, loud enough for the microphones still pointed our way to catch it. I never stopped. Marry me, Elijah. Not because of money or houses or headlines. Marry me because we're better together. Because our kids deserve both their dads under one roof. Because I want to wake up to you every morning for the rest of my life. My throat closed. Tears blurred everything. He pulled a ring from his pocket, simple white gold with 3 tiny stones. One for each of us and one for the family we were becoming. I had it made the week after the playground, he said quietly. Been carrying it ever since. I laughed through the tears. You idiot. Of course I'll marry you. The room exploded again as he slid the ring on my finger and stood to kiss me, deep, claiming, full of every promise we'd waited years to make. Leo squealed between us. Luna clapped. We left through a side door, Rosa shielding the twins, security Alex had hired personally guiding us to a waiting car. The headlines the next day were brutal. Voss heir abdicates empire for secret family. Billionaire chooses love over legacy. Voss senior furious as stock plunges. His father called once. Alex let it go to voicemail. We never listened to it. Instead, we disappeared. Not running this time, just choosing peace. We closed on the Craftsman house anyway. The offer had been in both our names, cash from Alex's personal accounts that the family couldn't touch. We moved in 2 weeks later with whatever fit in the Range Rover and a few delivered boxes of baby things. No movers. No staff. Just us. The first night in our new home, we put the twins to bed in their shared room, walls painted soft gray, constellations stenciled on the ceiling like the upstate nursery. Then we stood in the empty living room surrounded by unpacked boxes and laughed because it felt perfect. Alex pulled me into his arms. "Welcome home, fiancé." I kissed him slow and deep, hands sliding under his shirt just to feel his skin. We swayed there in the moonlight coming through the big windows. No rush, no audience, no threats hanging over us. Later, in our bedroom, he undressed me like I was something precious, kissing every inch he uncovered, whispering how much he loved me, how sorry he was for the lost years, how grateful he was for every second now. We came together quietly, reverently, emotions running higher than bodies. Every touch felt like healing. Every sigh like forgiveness. When we finally fell asleep tangled in each other, it wasn't about heat or urgency, it was about coming home. Spring came early that year. We got married in the backyard under the old oak tree. Just 20 people, Rosa, Carla from the restaurant, a few friends I'd kept from before, Alex's cousin who'd secretly supported him all along. The twins toddled down the aisle in tiny suspenders and a flower crown, carrying rings tied to pillows with ribbon. I wore a simple linen suit. Alex wore gray, eyes red like he'd been crying before the ceremony even started. We wrote our own vows. Mine, I promised to choose you every day, even the hard ones. To trust you with our family. To never run again. His, I promise to put you and our children above everything else, always. To build a life that's ours, not inherited. To love you fiercely, gently, completely, for as long as I breathe. When the officiant said, "You may kiss," Alex cupped my face and kissed me soft and long, like we had all the time in the world. Because now we did. The tabloids lost interest after a few months. Alex consulted for startups, worked from home, coached Leo's tiny soccer team on weekends. I went back to school part-time for design, something I'd always wanted but never had time for. We lived on far less than before, but somehow it felt like more. Some nights, after the twins were asleep, we'd sit on the porch swing with tea or wine, watching fireflies in the yard. Regrets? I asked him once, 6 months after the wedding. He thought about it, head tipped back against the swing. "Only that I didn't leave sooner," he said. "I wasted years chasing something that didn't matter half as much as this." He pulled me closer, kissing my temple. "Poor me," I teased softly, echoing the night he walked back into my life. Saw my billionaire ex in a restaurant and ended up with all this. He laughed, low and warm. "Poor me," he echoed. "Thought I'd lost you forever. Got a husband and 2 perfect kids instead." We kissed then, slow and familiar, the way married people do when they know there's tomorrow and the day after that. Inside, the baby monitor glowed softly, Leo snoring, Luna sighing in her sleep. Outside, the stars came out one by one. And for the first time in years, I didn't wish on them. I didn't need to. We already had everything. Thank you for watching, everyone. I also want to hear your thoughts about this story, and as you do so, don't forget to subscribe, like and share for more amazing BL stories.